Hey, y'all, welcome back to Sports and Spirits. We are excited as we're coming out of the first week of fantasy playoffs
Yeah.
and coming into a big week in the NCAA.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. We also have, later in the episode, Spirit of the Week. Good old E.H. Taylor, single barrel, coming at 100 proof. Talk more about that later, but without any further ado, let's hit that NFL. Oh, wait. Sorry.
Yeah.
There is some further ado.
Some house cleaning.
Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and follow us on all of our other social media platforms out there. We've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So just check us out there.
Let's do it.
Now we can get into it.
Yeah. So the last time you saw us, we kind of introduced Thursday Night Football. That's kind of the highlight in terms of the start of the NFL week. And boy, was it a doozy. This was a game that we went into it and we were like, oh, this is Buccaneers at home against the Atlanta Falcons. You know, Kirk Cousins should be favored, right? But I think I've never seen a performance from a guy you don't expect like we saw in this one from Kyle Pitts.
Oh, sure.
So a few guys that I checked in some of my leagues, I believe that almost all of them except for one had the guy that had this player was in the toilet bowl. You know, they're not in the contention, but if you somehow picked him up, you know, somebody dropped him mid-season and you had him, you probably
won.
won.
Lucky play, baby.
Yeah, because he had 11 catches for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns in this one. He scored like 47 fantasy points from a tight end position. It's like the most since like 1995 is a stat I saw the other day.
Let's go.
Leading them to a late game field goal victory, 29-28 on a game winner. But not a great one for the Bucs there. They can kind of controlled their own destiny, and you got to pick up those wins.
You have to.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in that position.
Yeah. Against a team that's really shorthanded too, you know? But yeah, so I guess we'll kind of touch a little bit on the Sunday game. So let's start on the noon slate. We'll talk about some of the ones that were more of that lopsided affair, and then we'll talk about some of those ones closer, more in depth. So first of all, you had the Eagles absolutely destroying the Raiders, 31-0. I believe the Raiders only had 75 yards of total offense on the day. Honestly, just a terrible performance from them. The Bears, they smoked them. 31-3, 3 turnovers by Shadir Sanders. The Bears kind of controlled the game on the ground. It was a cold one. It was like 10 degrees outside. But, you know, they kind of asserted their dominance, I guess you could say, in this one and kind of showed that they're a legit playoff team. So that was a good win there.
The most legit.
And then the Ravens, 2 weeks later after getting shocked by the Bengals on Thursday night, they get a 24-0 victory in Cincinnati.
What is this year about? Like, how many like skunk games are we going to see?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that are factored into some of these things, but I mean, that one I didn't really see coming. I kind of predicted it being more of that shootout.
Yep.
You know, I don't know what it was on the Bengals side. They just, for whatever reason, couldn't sustain drives. They could get it going, but they couldn't finish.
Right.
And, you know, and then we'll talk about the guys in this game later in the fantasy section, but the Jaguars won 48-20 against the Jets.
Yeah.
And some of those guys in that game put up some historic numbers, but we'll touch on that in a little bit later. And then lastly, you had the Texans, who we have talked about for the last few weeks because they seem to be in those primetime games, just outmanned the Cardinals 40-20. And we'll talk about some of the historic stuff in that fantasy game as well later on, but that's kind of the highlight of the lopsided games that you saw on your Sunday noon slate. And now let's talk about some close ones. The game that we debated last week.
Here we go.
And we had the Bills going into Foxborough, taking on the Patriots, and sort of predicted this one.
You did not.
I did, yeah. I said my heart told me that I want New England to win, but the reality is somehow Buffalo finds a way to win it. And he said Patriots, but yeah, the Bills were down 21-0 at one point in this game, and they made their comeback all the way to win 35-31. It was just one of those games that you could see as it kind of unfolded that like Buffalo was going to find a way to win, and that's what I described it before the game even happened. I'm like, that's how it's going to go down. You know, I just saw it happening, but this is one that I don't think affects potentially regards to who wins that division. I think the Patriots still win the division based on their schedule.
For sure.
But that definitely alters who's got the home field advantage. because the Patriots had the edge over the Broncos, and now they do not. So that'll be something to monitor because that means the Patriots might have to play that first week instead of having a bye.
Right.
So that could affect the playoffs positioning for sure.
Dang.
Yeah, and then another game, a highly talented Chargers team who has been really banged up. They went into Arrowhead in a game that nobody gave them any credit or thought that they were going to win, and they pulled off the victory 16-13. But the sad news, unfortunately, in the last 2 minutes of the game, the Chiefs had the ball trying to drive down the field to tie it up. And Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately, was scrambling to make a play. His leg bent awkwardly backwards, and unfortunately, he tore his ACL. So his season is over. Their chances of making the playoffs are over, and that will be the first time since 2014 that you do not see the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Whoa.
So think back to 11 years ago. What were you doing? That was the last time you didn't see the Chiefs playing in the playoffs.
Dang, that's crazy.
I mean, you have some of you probably have a couple kids. Some of you guys went through schooling. Some of you went through a bunch of things in life in that time frame, and the Chiefs have been in the playoffs every single year since then.
Dang.
Yeah. So
what's Taylor Swift think about this?
I'm sure not super pumped, but I don't think she's too concerned, to be fair.
Yeah, she's probably getting ready for another tour or something.
Yeah, she's probably going to be all right.
She'll be okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't really care. She's just there for the camera.
Yeah. And then I guess let's get into it. This is kind of more the slate I was intrigued about in terms of going into the weekend was the afternoon slate. We had some kind of controversial, scripts going into these ones. And the first one starts off with
The old timer.
We saw the return of 44-year-old Phillip Rivers for the Colts.
Let's go, brother.
As they went on the road against the Seahawks.
The old Sea Chickens.
And turned out to be a very close game, which nobody predicted. A lot of people saw a Seahawks just romping of the Colts in this one. And it ended up being a field goal battle with the Seahawks winning 18-16 on a game-winning field goal by Jason Myers, who made 6 of 6 field goals on the day. So the
Boy's got a
Seahawks
leg.
and the Seahawks could not score a touchdown all day. If you had him in fantasy, all power to you because he dropped like a 24 piece. So that's pretty good for a kicker. So, but yeah, either way, that was the victory there. And that sets up for a massive game this next week as the team we're going to talk about next.
Speaking of legs, though, before we get there, have you seen the movie The Christmas Story?
I have,
with the BB gun and everything like that. And that's that lamp with the leg on it.
Yes, the leg,
Well, now they've got sports team legs. So, like, Vikings legs.
Okay.
Speaking of legs, now you can get this guy's leg in a lamp.
There you go.
If you're really impressed by his 6 field goals in one game, you can get a lamp to commemorate it.
Oh, man. I didn't know where you were going with that, but I was like, okay.
Oh, weird. It took me a second to get there, but I had to explain the whole story.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, and as we were saying, the what it's setting up for is in the biggest shootout of the week.
Here we go.
As we predicted.
Yep.
The Rams hosted the Lions, both offensive juggernaut teams. Obviously, we've seen it all season between fantasy and just reality. You're watching it, and these guys just go up and down the field, score points. And the Rams just got the best of them, winning 41-34. It just was one of those where they felt like they just always had the edge in this one.
I just kind of felt it coming.
At home, it's just one of those things that I think
my boy.
Your boy Stafford, he kind of just, I don't know. It's been interesting. I mean, there is something to note in this one, though, is they didn't come out of the game unscathed. Unfortunately, they did have Devontae Adams go down with a hamstring injury.
The old hammy.
And they're saying it's relatively week to week. So that'll be something to monitor because as we've talked about on this podcast a lot, we like the Rams' long season projection. But on Thursday night without Devontae Adams against the Seahawks, that might change those things, so we'll see.
It'd be kind of, not a long shot, but kind of a long shot for them not to make the playoffs at this point.
They've clinched.
Oh, so you see? There's no... I'd just rest them.
Yeah. Yeah, right, but you also want the bye. It's tough.
Do I want the bye at the risk of losing one of my top players?
I mean, if he's not 100% healthy, they're not going to put him out there. I think I agree with you there. I think unless he's at 100%, because if you watch the game, he just kind of pulled up like on a route. He was running on a deep route.
Yeah.
Just pulled up and like rolled over and like it was just bad.
Yeah, you do something like that, and then he goes out there the next day, he's at 90%, and then boom, tears some MCL or ACL because he's trying to baby that leg or something.
Yeah. But then the game that we saw some other interesting things happen as we had the Packers
The Pack.
win on the road against the hottest team in football, as we have talked on numerous occasions, the Denver Broncos. and they continued their winning streak, and what ended up being a shootout, winning 34-26 behind
another injury.
Another injury, man. It's
Ugh.
This is one that'll be interesting to see if you guys in the comments, what your take on it is. Obviously, with one of the best defensive players in football, Micah Parsons, tearing his ACL in this one. And it was pretty nasty. If you saw the video, you can kind of see the ACL pop.
Sure.
I mean, it's clear as day. Do you believe that Dallas made the right decision and not wanting to give him a max contract when it comes down to one player? Because an injury like this happens, now that player is not the same player.
For sure.
And so there was always that debate of, okay, well, his stats don't lie. He's one of the best defensive players in football. And I don't argue it.
Right.
Since he's been in Green Bay, he's been a difference maker, right? But here's the concern. Now you take that guy off that field.
Yep.
You also have all that money tied up in that guy, and he just tears his ACL now in what, week 15?
Right. And he comes back. Is he the same player?
He's not playing week 1 next year.
Oh, no.
No chance. You know what I mean? And even if he is, he's not going to be at a full go.
Nope.
And so it's like, the question is, how does that evaluate your team build? It's like when people make a comment about why do you spend this amount of money on a quarterback versus a defense player? The quarterback's likely injury is, in my opinion, just slightly lower.
Yep.
It's still up there. Don't get me wrong. Any player's likely to get injured.
Right.
But one interesting of note, people have talked about injuries this year. We've talked a lot about them. Before we continue on with the rest of the slate.
A lot of injuries.
But
a lot of injuries and a lot of shutouts.
But I did see a stat that was interesting that I think a lot of you guys would probably be shocked by, is that over the last 10 years, this is actually the least amount of torn ACLs that we've seen in the NFL in one season.
For real?
Yeah, even though it doesn't feel like that. I mean, we've seen
I am shocked.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of other injuries, I think. But my total on my end says there's been 30 so far this season. And the second least, I think, was like 42.
Yep.
So we're still significantly lower than we have been over the last 10 years, which is great. I mean, obviously, when you see these numbers, 30 seems like a lot of people that get injured. You got to remember, there's anywhere from 10 to 16 games on a week, right? It's a lot of football. These guys are playing really hard at a high level. You can't control injuries, and when you take the sample size, 30 total is pretty low.
Yeah.
If you take the sample size of 15 weeks, let's call it 10 games a week plus some on other weeks. I mean, that's a lot of games. Somebody's getting hurt in maybe every third or fourth game.
Yeah.
It's like, that's pretty good. You have to take things with a grain of salt.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate. That's why you play sport, and that's why these guys have certain things in their contract to protect that. But just thought it would be an interesting note to throw in there.
Here's why you never trust AI. I just asked the question, how many shutouts have there been in the NFL this year?
Okay, what did it say?
As of mid-December 2025.
Yeah.
The NFL is having an unprecedented season with 0 shutouts through week 15.
Which is incorrect.
Are you kidding me? We just talked about how many shutouts we've had in the last whatever.
Well, we just had 2 this week already.
Right.
So,
and we've talked about them pretty much every week for the last 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yes.
Thanks, AI, for being an idiot.
Yes. And then the game that most of you guys that are watching this, to be honest, until
the one
that you probably all watched this one on Sunday night.
You better have, because it was a barn burner.
Yeah, and the Vikes went on the road against the Cowboys. It's always a tough place to play. Dallas
We went into their house, brother.
Let's go. Yeah, and obviously this is a big one for both teams just to stay in the hunt, but the Cowboys more or less, they had to win this game to stay in the playoff hunt just because they have a tie on their record, and J.J. McCarthy had other plans.
Big plans.
And he absolutely balled out. Like, I got to put respect where respect is given. Like, I mean, there's a couple, questionable type throws, but overall, I think he threw for 250, 3 touchdowns in this one, leading the Vikes to a 34-26 victory.
Even though we're not getting into the playoffs, doesn't mean we can't ruin everybody else's chance.
Yeah, and you have to build on next year.
Right.
You have to, and I think what these last 2 weeks have shown me as I think we have our quarterback of the future.
Could be, yeah.
I think a lot of us have kind of given him up on him. I mean,
I gave up on him 3 weeks ago.
and I never did. I've been questioning.
I still might.
I've questioned him. Don't get me wrong, but I look at him as a rookie quarterback.
True.
And he's.
I look at Drake May as a rookie quarterback too, and look at him.
Yeah, but he's not. He's year 2. He played a little last year.
Whatever.
But whatever. But either way, I think when you look at the sample size, yes, it hasn't been great. But then you also look at the sample size of the guys that were legitimate rookies this year.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Shadir Sanders, Tyler Shook. Like these guys.
You haven't heard about them much.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, because he's in the limelight more or less for us because he's Minnesota.
Right.
He's also got a scrutiny of a team that was 14-3 last year.
Yep.
These other guys, their expectations are so incredibly low because their teams were so bad.
Right.
That like they don't have to go out there and absolutely ball every single week.
Yep.
So let's keep that in perspective as we watch him
I'll
develop.
try.
He's also only 22 years old. Tyler Shaw, who's a rookie this year for the Saints, is already 26 years
Brother,
old.
this is the NFL.
Yes.
The National Football League. You got to be able to play at an elite level, no matter what.
Yeah, we'll see. And then lastly on the NFL docket, before we get into some whiskey here, on Monday night, you had the Steelers host the Miami Dolphins, and an outcome we kind of all could have predicted. Miami's awful in cold weather games. They haven't won one in forever. I believe Tua's 0-6 going into cold weather games under 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Really?
Yeah, and the Steelers are always dominant, especially on Monday night. With this victory, winning 28-15 over the Dolphins.
Let's go.
They moved to 23 consecutive Monday night victories with Mike Tomlin as the coach.
Mike Tomlin, baby. Just like what? How many weeks ago people were like,
let's write them off. Now they're 8-6. Now they're 8-6. They're one win away from guaranteeing that 500 record like he always does. It's tough. It's hard to write him off. He's one of the best coaches in terms of finding ways to win with a team that's not meant to do it. Like that Steelers team is not meant to win.
Right.
Even with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, I don't care. If you line them up on paper against some of these teams they've beaten, no.
Tomlin, man.
He gets it done.
He gets it done.
Yeah.
That guy's crazy.
But yeah,
and like we've talked about before,
this
is like one of the only teams that's had only 3 coaches in the last 50 years.
Yeah. Yep.
So doing something, they have the patience, they have the understanding that listen.
Yeah, there's growing pains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Things are gonna
don't always just pull trigger after 2 years.
Right.
Just yank a guy.
Yep. I kind of like that. Give somebody a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know if the next guy you bring in is going to put you in the same boat or worse.
Exactly. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Nothing's guaranteed in football.
Well, that's it. That's your football, NFL football recap for the week. And before we get into fantasy football, it's time for a little bit of a spirit.
Sure.
I won't make it a secret. E.H. Taylor is my favorite.
Okay.
Of all time.
Sure. Just across the board or
Across the board.
anything
All
specific? All of them? Okay.
Every one of them.
Okay.
I haven't had one I don't like.
Okay, so it's your preferred portfolio across the board.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Their rye, phenomenal. Probably one of my favorite ryes.
Let us know down below.
Yeah.
What is that? If you agree with that,
or
or
you
you
me
have
in the
somebody,
comments.
Yeah, if you got something else you'd like to throw out there, let's see it.
Let's see it. This particular single barrel, really good.
Yep.
Haven't had a single barrel that hasn't been.
Okay.
Only had 2, so
okay.
Not a big sample size.
Sure.
But yeah, they are. I don't know. This is one of when I started in the whiskey world.
Yep.
It was the same weekend that I first met you.
Yep.
We were doing a giant bourbon hunt in search of Joseph A. Magnus cigar blend.
Gotcha.
Everybody said it couldn't be found because at that point it was super duper hard to find.
Right.
We ended up finding it. But on the journey, we found Josh and we found our first ever E.H. Taylor small batch. This was 2022-ish, the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, somewhere in there.
Sure.
And before I had tried that, I was like, man, why are people into whiskey? Because this is horrible.
Right.
But then I tried this one, and then boom, it changed everything for me.
Okay. So there's a little bit of that like heartthrob to this one.
Yeah.
Like this is like the heartbeat of like the first thing that like got you into
Exactly,
what you like to do now.
That could play into my love for E.H. Taylor.
Slight bias, maybe.
Could be it.
I mean, it's very good juice. Let's not get it twisted.
Right.
You probably can't find a lot of them all over the place very often outside of maybe a small batch.
Right.
So when he's saying this, like, obviously this is obviously really good for us to have something to talk about like this, but it's probably not something you find on your shelf or at the proper price point
Right.
all that often.
100%.
And so,
luckily for us here in Minnesota, small batches kind of
yep.
come into the market a little bit more readily available.
Yeah, I would say your small batch for the most part, I would classify it as more readily available than even like your probably traditional like Eagle Rare or Buffalo Trace even.
Yep.
You know, I think it just depends on where you're at, where you're located, obviously, depending on if you're in the cities, out in the suburbs, depending on what liquor store you're referring to, but which is nice. Nothing like having that as a regular sipper.
Exactly. That's it. Right there. Quintessential bourbon. It's got the caramel. It's got the brown sugar. It's got kind of a molasses note to it.
Yeah, almost like sticky in the roof of the mouth.
Yeah. It's got a beautiful mouthfeel. 100 proof is a nice proof point, especially when this is your first of the day.
Yep.
Unless you've had some already, and I don't.
No. No, I have not.
Beautiful nose. I mean, listen. There are more complex things out there than this one.
Sure. Yep.
Even they're barrel proof. Some of their barrel proof offerings are much more complex.
Mm-hmm.
But again, across the board, I love the complexity of their barrel proof. I love what this is for being a single barrel. It is what it is.
Yep.
And you know it. Every time you go back to it, it's like that profile is just there.
Yep.
Same with their small batch. Same with their rye. Their rye is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to go back to, and I've only tried like a couple sips of it, would be their barrel proof rye.
Okay.
I've
never had that.
Haven't found a bottle of it anywhere.
I've never found one.
But that one had some really earthy notes to it.
Okay.
And so I'd like to go back and spend a little more time with it to see if I'm like, do I dig that or do I not dig that?
Right.
But this one, I dig it.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like the ones that you probably more often see is probably the single barrel, a barrel proof, or the small batch. That barrel proof is going to be a little bit of that hotter experience for you fans that like a little bit more of a proofy pickle, but this one's kind of that well-rounded balance where it's a little bit more sophisticated than your small batch.
One thing interesting about E.H. Taylor that I'm not sure everybody knows is he is the guy who really pushed for the Bottled in Bond Act.
Correct.
And so that's why you'll find most of their bottles at 100 proof. Obviously, their barrel proof offerings are going to be at barrel proof, but everything else is at 100 proof. And so that was one of the stipulations in the Bottled in Bond Act is that it had to be bottled at 100 proof. And so that's why all of his bottles are.
And that was just to maintain the consistency for everybody and the health and safety of the people consuming.
Right.
But yeah.
There it is. If you can find this bad boy at MSRP, don't
or maybe a little above. I mean, it's definitely one to add to the collection. Right. I mean, it's tough to find in general, but I wouldn't say it's a $500 bottle of whiskey, which I have seen it in the market at that point.
Same.
So I wouldn't put it in that bump because remember, it is bottled in bond, so it's not going to be that complex experience. Yep. But it's definitely one, if it's something you're really willing to, splurge on, by all means, do whatever you want to do.
I mean, it's your money at the end of the day. Do what you want, but just try and do it responsibly.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
There you have it. Let's get on to some fantasy football.
Yeah, so we went a little bit more deep into this segment for this week just because this week was kind of just the story of monster performances by certain guys, for the first week of fantasy playoffs.
And some that we didn't even see coming.
No, most of them I didn't see coming. I'm going to be honest, most of these I didn't see coming. So like that, and that's the thing. So like when these happen, it's like one of those things that completely alters like those projections.
Yeah.
It's like you go into a matchup, either you're projected to win by 10 points, 15 points, maybe you're projected to win by 5. You have one of these guys or the guy you're playing as one of these guys. Oh, that changes drastically.
Right. Yep.
Because a guy as we talked about, Kyle Pitts, who was projected, I believe, for about 12 points.
Yep.
I think he was, in most leagues, was pretty close to 50 on Thursday night. So, having a guy that, quadruples his projection, that's really going to throw off, that kind of dynamic of your playoff matchup.
100%.
And honestly, I don't see that changing from here with a relatively soft schedule defensive wise for who they play the next couple weeks, and whether or not I don't see Drake London playing the rest of the way.
Sure,
they're out.
Yep.
They have no reason to continue to have him play,
right?
And might as well rest your best player for next season.
Yep.
So Kyle
how would
Pitts
you like that?
What's up?
You just keep getting paid millions of bones.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather play. See that
I suppose
coming from a player
that's
side,
that competitive side.
That competitive side. Yeah, like I want to be out there, and so like people question that. They did shut down. If you guys didn't know, they did shut down Jane Daniels for the year.
Oh wow!
So he is not going to play the remainder of the year. So that comes into that element. Whereas Joe Burrow has been playing.
Yep.
Because it's one of those things that he's a competitor and he wants to get out there. He's getting paid a lot of money, like $15 million. So it's like get out there and play, right? So I mean, it's tough. It's a dynamic. You want to, your season's not going to go where you want it to go, but you also want to keep the fans engaged and the team camaraderie up, but the game that I'm talking about where we saw two guys have performances that I honestly was stunned by. You had Trevor Lawrence throwing 5 passing touchdowns as well as a rushing touchdown for 6 total touchdowns on the day, with 3 of them being passing touchdowns to Travis Etienne, the running back for Jacksonville. So Travis Etienne doesn't have a single rushing touchdown on the day, but scores 3 times. He catches 3 touchdowns. A pretty special game for the former Clemson alums that were teammates.
Act like you're not impressed.
45 piece from Trevor Lawrence and like a 32 piece from Travis Etienne. If you have either one of those guys, they helped you win your matchup for sure.
Sign up for that one.
Yep. And then the guy that I'm a huge fan of, I'm slightly biased. I believed in him this year. I reached on him in a lot of drafts just because I think he's the best player at his position in football, and that's Trey McBride. We have talked about how special of a year it's been, and it's been without Kyler Murray. So he continues his historic season. Here's some numbers for you guys. He becomes one of just 3 players to have 100 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns in a season.
Shoot!
At his position.
That's
at tight
insane.
End. Yep. And then he also has now caught 5 passes for the 16th game in a row, which passes Travis Kelce for the record amongst tight ends. That was 15.
Man.
And on top of that,
you know who's gonna be pissed about that?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have he now has the ability to pass Zach Ertz for the most receptions in a season. He has 105, and the most ever was 116 with 3 games to go.
Do you think? Let us know in the comments.
Yep.
Do you think he's gonna do it? How many games we got left? We're
3.
3 games
so
left.
Even if he only averages what he's been averaging of 5 receptions over the last 16 games, that would be 15. That would do it.
Yep.
Last week he had 12. So he could do it in the next game.
He'd give himself a little buffer too.
Yeah, he's got room. So if you invested in him early in your fantasy draft, congrats. You've been rewarded because you're probably still in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, dang right.
I have him in 3 leagues. I'm in 4 semifinals this week, and I have him in all 3. I'm pumped about it. I don't care who the matchup is. He's matchup proof. They played the Texans this last week.
Yeah.
37 fantasy points, 12 catches, 124, and 2 touchdowns.
Make sure you send him a Christmas card.
Absolutely. Buy his jersey, send him a card, do everything you can. But he is by far none. His difference in points between him and George Kittle is the difference between George Kittle and the 19th ranked tight end in fantasy football.
Wow.
So that's the gap. It's phenomenal. He's setting up for potentially being one of the first, outside of Travis Kelce a few years back, tight ends to be a first-round pick this next year. Because right now, at the end of this season, he has the ability to be a top 3 wide receiver.
Wow.
And he plays tight end in terms of points scored for the season.
Wow.
So if you have him, I mean, congrats. I don't care when you draft him, there's no way you could have overdrafted.
Right.
Because he could end up going down as like the 5th highest scoring position player in the fantasy this year. And if that's the case, congrats.
That's
because he
crazy.
probably took you to a championship.
Take that.
There you go. And then the team that we've talked about all season long, although it was in a losing effort, you have the young stars of the New England Patriots continue to shine. TreVeyon Henderson had another explosive game for over 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's going to end up being a league winner down the stretch here as they try to make it into the playoffs and secure that division title. And another 20-point performance from Drake May, solidifying him as the best value at the quarterback position for this year. And that is just facts.
It's facts, baby.
Yep. And then in the highest scoring game of the week, the last thing I want to touch on, you had both superstar wide receivers that you invested.
He only wants to touch on this because he loves to say their name.
They're both great. Both names are great.
Yep.
But also, I almost lost my matchup because of this one guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Now listen, that's two separate hyphenated words.
Yes, it is.
Amon-Ra.
Yep. And so Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka Nacua, they both had amazing games to help carry their teams to victory this week. But Amon-Ra had, I believe, 10 or 11 grabs, maybe 12, 13. I don't even know. 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. Puka had like 11 or 12 grabs for like 180, 160, whatever it was. So if you invested in those guys early, all power to you. You're still in it. You're still battling.
Yeah.
You know, if you had enough pieces around you, you're in your fantasy semifinals.
If you were Puka Nacua's significant other, you wouldn't even need like a pet name because just calling him Puka.
Yeah, that's a touchy subject because there was some controversy in the media this year on that one. But I don't know if I want to get into it too much.
We probably don't.
But yeah, there was some discrepancies in regards to.
Listen up, buddy. Lock it up.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, we're not going to touch that. It's
We're
not.
gonna leave that one
we're
right
we're going to leave that one on the table for somebody else to talk about. I'm good on that. But let's move into some NBA. Lighten it up a little bit.
Some NBA. Listen, before we get into the NBA,
yes,
you may be asking yourself, what's with this insulation behind Josh? Well, we're still under construction here at the studios. Hope to be ready with the new studio next time we film. So that's next week.
Yeah.
Feeling really good about it.
Yeah, either one way or another, before the January rolls around, we'll be all ready to rock for playoff football.
That's right.
NBA heating up.
Yep.
NHL heating up. We got some great coverage here for you on these last two, so stick with us if you're still here. I know you guys love the football content, but we're going to kind of transition as the seasons transition into more of this stuff. If you guys want to hear it, we'll go more in depth. There's a lot of games to cover, so we will have a lot more coverage as the season progresses.
That's right. And here we go.
Let's
a little
do
bit
it.
of hoops.
Yeah, so on Thursday, the slate was pretty soft. There was only 4 games, but the only one that was really noteworthy in regards to a close game that was to watch and teams that are, kind of have some history. You had the Rockets host the Clippers. Obviously, you have that dynamic of James Harden, the former Rocket, playing his former team.
My guy.
Yep. And then the beard.
The beard, baby. The beard. And he'll lose every game if he shaves that beard.
Well,
I'm telling you.
He should change something because they're losing every game with the beard.
Oh, no. Maybe he should. Maybe he's losing some speed with that beard.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, the either way, the Rockets continue their winning ways, winning 115, 113 in a close one. The Rockets are a team that on paper don't have a lot of depth off the bench, but if that starting 5 gels the way they've been gelling, they could be a team to watch out with because Kevin Durant's one of the most lethal scorers in basketball, and that West is looking scarier and scarier every single week.
Truth.
I mean, it's going to be a grind in that playoffs. You got these young teams like the Spurs. You got the Rockets with Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun. I love that name.
He loves to say it.
I just love to say it. You got Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets, and that is the deepest team they've had, but they've had some injuries, so they'll get healthier. Obviously can't not talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Can't.
And then you got, the Timberwolves are in there.
Let's go, baby.
But either way, speaking of the Timberwolves.
Wait a second. Did you hit a game this last week?
Oh, yeah, we've had a few.
Nice.
Yeah, we've had a few.
Were they electric?
To be honest, no, because this one was actually in Golden State on Friday. We went on the road against the Golden State Warriors. No Anthony Edwards in this one. No Conley.
Where'd he go?
Injured foot. He's got a foot injury.
Oh my God.
So we'll see. He missed a couple in a row here. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he can get back healthy because we could use him. But we still won the game, which normally we don't.
We went into their house
without Anthony Edwards and did it. And Curry returned, as I talked about. I said he's coming back.
He came back.
He came back, and he dropped 39 points.
Wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough in a losing effort. We had and on this day specifically, whatever it was, the magic number was 39. And you'll understand why in a second. But we had 3 guys that are prolific scorers in this league drop 39 points on the same day. That doesn't happen very often. Just kind of interesting, I guess, analysis.
A little tidbit.
But also you had on that day, you had the 76ers host the Pacers in a game where there's no Tyrese Maxey. He's been a little banged up with dealing with some illness stuff and injury, but Joel Embiid absolutely shined. He scored 39 points.
Let's go.
And the most points he scored post-knee injury. The biggest thing that we've talked about all season with Joel Embiid is the in, out, which games he's playing, which games he's not. When he is playing, you cannot argue he's not a top 5 center in the NBA. But obviously the concern is what does the longevity of this career of this player be with those kind of injury history? And then on the same day as well, you had the Jazz win on the road against the Grizzlies in a really high-scoring affair, winning 130-126 with a special game from my favorite up-and-coming player in this NBA season is Keontae George, dropping 39 points. And this one, slightly biased on a couple of these guys, have a few of them in my fantasy league.
Let's go.
But this guy is going to win Most Improved Player this year, and I have no question about it. He's been absolutely balling. He's the reason why that team's going. Obviously, they're not winning a ton of games. They have, maybe not the best roster in terms of setup, but this guy's going to be a piece to build around for them going forward, and it's cool to see somebody kind of come into limelight, giving the Jazz something to cheer for.
There you go.
So that's been awesome to see.
What about the Saturday NBA Cup semifinals?
I mean, have to talk about it, right?
So
if you guys have been following us along the entire way, we've been talking about the NBA Cup, or they're calling it the Emirates Cup, the Commissioner's Cup, whatever you want to call it. You had the semifinals on Saturday. So the first thing that you saw in the afternoon, you had the Knicks taking on the Magic. And in a game that was just from start to finish, was just absolutely dominated by the Knicks.
Except that Jalen Brunson scored one too many points.
He did. He did not hit the Magic 39. He had 40. Not going to complain about that one either. But nonetheless, I think we've talked about it on numerous occasions. We've seen a lot of reports of the Giannis to New York discussion and in trades. I like the team build of the Knicks.
It's nice.
I think that they have one of those where you have like guys like Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Miles McBride, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and obviously Karl Anthony Towns.
Did you say Obi-Wan Kenobi?
OG Anunoby.
He just likes to say that.
Hey, I got some names. You guys just let me know.
Names. I think we need to put on a shirt that has all the names that he likes to say on it, and just say he likes to say that.
They're good, but I just want to say their name.
Yep.
But yeah, either way, as we predicted, the Knicks are going to win. I think they're going to be a team to contend in the East. They might win the whole thing on the East this year. And then in the nightcap, in a game I also predicted this week, I had the Spurs go upset in the Thunder, and they did. In the return of Victor Wembanyama, they won 111-109. And like I said, this young Spurs team is hungry. Stephen Castle,
there we go.
Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox. You got Harrison Barnes. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit older, but either way, you got this young core with some veteran players that are mixed in there.
Yep.
It's a recipe for success.
It really is.
So congrats to them. They ended the Thunder's 16-game win streak, moving them to 24-2 on the season.
Let's go.
But I don't think it's going to be a while before they get their next victory.
Dang it.
But yeah, either way, let's transition. So that sets up for a Spurs-Knicks final on Tuesday. We'll talk about that. But we got on Sunday, the Timberwolves hosted the Kings. This is these rescheduled games that everybody saw because they didn't make the NBA Commissioner Cup.
Sure.
And they hosted the Kings without Edwards again in a game that was just an all-around team effort. Winning 117-103.
Boom.
Nas Reed, double-double. Julius Randle, just an absolute beast this season.
You come into our house?
Yeah, no way, man. We've been awesome at home
Wiping
this year.
the floor,
Other than
baby.
I think we only lost 1 or 2 at home, maybe.
Hey.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, so... And then you also had the Atlanta Hawks host the 76ers. Still no Tyrese Maxey, winning a close one, 120-117. We'll see the Hawks, like I've said, if they can get Trae Young back healthy. Porzingis is out for a while. He's been diagnosed with like a severe, like medically rare illness.
Oh, wow.
So I don't want to speak too much on it because they don't know a whole lot about his timetable.
Sure.
But he will be out for a little bit, the foreseeable future anyway. So Jalen Johnson will continue to have an all-star level season for sure. And then also you had the Lakers win a close one on the road against the Phoenix Suns.
I need to have a talk with Steve Nash.
Yeah, 116-114.
This guy.
Well, you can. He's on what's his coverage? He's doing the Peacock coverage for basketball this year. Steve Nash is.
Interesting.
He's on the coverage team with like Blake Griffin and Udonis Haslem and stuff like that.
Yeah, I need to have a talk with him.
Yeah, there you go. Make a phone call. You got his number.
I got his number.
And then on Monday night, the Celtics hosted the Pistons in a game that was a battle of the two superstars, in my opinion, in the league in the East, which is Jaylen Brown and Cade Cunningham, with Cade winning this one in the fourth quarter. He's been the best fourth quarter scorer in the NBA this year, and that is why they won this game, honestly. Jaylen Brown missed 7 free throws in this one, and they ended up losing 112 to 105.
Ooh.
So those free throws ended up being a very big factor in that
Very
one.
big.
And so...
how many did he miss?
7. He was 7 of 14. He shot 50% from the free throw line.
They would have won.
And historically, he's like an 88% free throw shooter. So that's not great.
Dang nabbit.
And then in the game of the night, I've already mentioned these two guys, but the Nuggets hosted the Rockets in a battle of the two best facilitating centers, is what I like to call them.
Here comes another name he likes to say.
Both having triple doubles.
Oh, really?
Both of them having triple doubles in this one. Game went to overtime.
Nice work, boys.
I think Jokic had like 35, like 14 and 10, and then Sengun had 33, 10 and 10.
Sengun.
Yeah, Elfrid Sengun, winning 128 to 125. But either way, phenomenal performance from both those guys. They're young, they're special players in this NBA.
Truth.
And whenever they play each other, it's must-watch TV because it's a great matchup. And then setting up for you guys as you're watching this video, obviously, hopefully you enjoyed that coverage on the NBA, but that sets up for your NBA Commissioner Cup Finals. Tonight, you got the Knicks taking on the Spurs. I like the Knicks in this one. I'm going to take them. I think the Spurs could shock people. It'll be a closer game, but I think the difference is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has got something to prove this year. You know, he's kind of trying to take that next step of being like the elite guy at the position. And he's really showing that, you know, he's an absolute baller. So
how are the Spurs doing this year?
They're pretty good. I believe they're like second or third, I think, in the West.
So then here's the question. Do you think that the Spurs, without Greg Popovich even being in the picture, and it was just Mitch, do you think they'd be as good as they are? Do you think
he is in the picture? He's the GM.
I know that's what I'm saying. But if Popovich wasn't in the picture at all,
okay,
and you just had to rely on Mitch Johnson to be just the coach,
I do.
Do you think they'd be good?
Because Mitch Johnson, his whole career was in Popovich's system as the assistant coach, so he could pretty much already would have ran.
So he's basically
system.
a mini Pop.
Well, let's not get carried away. There's a lot to prove to be called that. Let's be honest. I mean, that's a
he's
big
always
shoes to fill.
done. Greg Popovich has always done good with young teams because he focuses so much on the fundamentals. Like that's always been his thing, and it's always brought him so much success.
And then logistically speaking, Victor Wembanyama is the most unguardable player in the NBA,
right?
Ever.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easy and takes a lot of pressure off the guys around you when the 7'4" center who can dribble up and down the court and then yam on you backwards on a lob can just do whatever he wants out there. Makes it a lot easier on you.
Truth.
But the difference, I think, in that one, and the reason why the Spurs are, I think, De'Aaron Fox will be not. He already has been a very good player in the NBA, but he will be a household name if they make a run this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for any team to beat the Thunder. I'm going to be honest. In a 7-game series, I mean, the Spurs gave them everything they got, and they barely won. You know, and there was a few calls that went their way that might not go their way if they played in like Oklahoma City.
Which speaks to their youth and their lack of experience.
Yep.
Because all those games would probably go another way had they have experience. But they're also doing better than they probably would have been with their youth because of their coaching.
Sure. I agree with that comment 100%. And either way, it's been just fun to watch. It's been the most balanced NBA outside of the Thunder.
Right.
Outside of the Thunder, if you eliminate the Thunder, I mean, you can look at those West standings and you got like 12 legitimate teams that are playoff contenders. You know what I mean? So it's been cool to watch.
Thunder are 24-2.
Yes, 24-2.
Pistons are 21-5 in the Eastern Conference.
Correct. Those are
hot dang.
But I actually have the Knicks as my favorite right now in the East.
Really?
Oh yeah. I think they must be second or third, probably.
The old Knickerbockers?
Yeah, I believe they they probably only have like 7 or 8 losses. I'm sure.
You're actually 100%.
Yeah.
18-7 is their record right now.
I was gonna say 6 or 7, but
win
I didn't
streak
want to
is
go
5.
there. I didn't want to go there.
Yeah, we went there. You didn't want to go there, but we went there.
Just don't know what that means, but whatever.
I don't think anybody does.
I know. But yeah, that's kind of your NBA stuff to look out that you saw this past weekend, and we'll talk about in the next video, like the stuff to look out for.
Yep.
But that kind of has been a fun little Commissioner Cup run that we had here with you guys, and kind of explained it how that all went through. And
that was cool.
if you want to see some more NBA stuff from us on like breakdowns on game-to-game basis, you just let us know. We can do that.
Let us know.
Yeah.
But until then, we're going to hit that big, beautiful sheet of ice.
Yes. For you guys that what he's referencing is hockey, and it's a great time to be a Minnesotan, be a hockey fan.
Yep.
The Wild are cooking. On Thursday, the Wild hosted the Stars in a matchup of two of the best teams in the NHL, two of the best three.
You coming to our house?
No way. And they won 5-2. You know, I think the difference has been this year is that like you can actually have faith that going into some of these games that they should win.
Right.
And like in years past, it was like, oh, okay, they could have won that game.
Yep.
It's like they're gonna win that game. There's a totally different attitude around here, and you can tell by the arenas they're selling out. The games are selling out, and they didn't before.
The state of hockey is actually starting to feel like the state of hockey.
It's awesome, dude. It's super awesome.
Let's go.
Their only challenge is the other team. That's the hottest team I've ever seen to start a season.
That's gonna be tough to beat them.
Is the Avalanche, who took on two-time defending champs, the Panthers, and they just beat them down 6-2. They just, I mean, I think McKinnon's up at like 25 or 26 or something like that goals on the season already. It's like he's on pace for like 65.
We call that a bludgeoning.
Yeah, he's a special player. I mean, that team is really good. And then another team that's been really fun to watch this year has been the Hurricanes.
Okay.
They went on the road and they bested the Capitals in a shootout 3-2. The Hurricanes have won so many shootouts this year. We'll talk about it. They won like 4 shootouts this last week.
Let's freaking go.
Like 4. They won out of the weekend. I think they won 3.
Winning.
Hey, that's an extra point, and it adds up in the end.
That's right.
And then on Friday, you had the Mammoth host the Kraken.
Wait, the who?
The Mammoth.
The Mammoth
Hosted the Kraken.
The Kraken.
And they beat them 5-3.
One of the best head-to-heads that you can mention.
Oh, yeah. It was the only game on the slate I wanted to talk about just because of the names.
Just because of the names.
We're all about the memes around here, but no. It was fun. But in the biggest news on the day.
Here we go.
On Friday, the Wild pulled off one of the biggest trades in NHL history.
This is the second time we've done that.
Yes.
Way back.
Yes.
We did it with our boy Parisi.
Yep.
And we did it again.
Yep. This one's big though. This is franchise altering. They traded for defenseman Quinn Hughes from the Vancouver Canucks. And in order to make this deal happen, they had to give up in a sense 4 first-round picks. These are 3 guys that we took in the first round and a future first-rounder, Marco Rossi, Liam Ogren, and Zim Boheim, and a first-round pick in 2026, so next year's draft.
Buckets.
But to me, proves to me as a fan, as someone who's watched a lot of sports, that they're finally going to go all in on the chances with this core. Like,
Yep.
you know, a lot of times what happens is you get like, is this a team going to be enough? We have the goaltending. This is a team that can win a Stanley Cup. And
Boys, do you hear that?
this is a team that can win a Stanley Cup. I truthfully believe, I made this comment the other day when I was talking to somebody. I think that by the year 2028, so within the next 4 years,
We're going to have a trophy?
we'll have a Stanley Cup, a Lombardi Trophy, and an NBA championship.
Boys, are
We
you
will have
hearing this right now?
All 3.
By
all 3.
2028?
By 2028, we will have all 3.
Wow.
That is my prediction. I think that will happen.
The tide is changing here in Minnesota.
And so, like, either hop on the bandwagon with us.
Yeah, get on this thing.
Enjoying the ride.
There's tons of room back
Yeah,
here.
there's plenty of room. We'll make space.
Yep.
But, yeah, this is one of those that he's going to not just be a cornerstone piece, but this is a guy that for the next decade, he alleviates so much pressure. The best defensive tandem in the NHL now is playing on the Wild with Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber.
Holy balls.
Make that make sense. You have the highest paid player in hockey in Kirill Kaprizov. He's been absolutely balling this year. You got young core like Jackson. You got Eriksson Ek. You got Boldy. I mean, they're Tendies, Gustafson, and I always pronounce his last name wrong, but they're on fire. And either way, the Wild are legit. The only concern is they play in the toughest division I've ever seen.
Right.
Like, they're on fire right now. If the season ended today, the Wild would win all 3 of the other divisions. They would win.
Dang. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have enough points to win those divisions to win, like, for playoff seeding.
Yeah.
And they're 3rd. in our division.
Yeah.
That's how good they've had this season. It's kind of been shadowed by how good the Stars and how good the Avalanche have been. But it's super exciting nonetheless if you're a Wild fan, because we're here.
We're here, baby. We're here for it. And we're going to be here
and
for it.
And they continue to stay hot on Saturday. And one day post-trade, the Wild hosted the Senators, and they win 3-2.
You come into our house.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, that atmosphere there at now what they call it, like the Grand Casino Arena or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
It used to be the XL Center, now
I think
it's Grand Casino.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
And then you had the Islanders hosted the Lightning. And it went into overtime, resulting in a 3-2 victory for the Islanders. That's been a team that's kind of come out of nowhere the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of their hockey, and they've been winning a lot of games. So all power to them. That's cool. And then the Avalanche, I mean, it seems like a broken record, but they win again, winning 4-2 against the Nashville Predators at home. It's just become it's very similar to like watching these guys that like have these great seasons. Like you just come numb to it. It's like watching Jokic play basketball.
Right.
He just 30-point game, triple double. Oh, okay.
He should have gotten 39, but whatever.
Yeah, it was only Wednesday. It's like whatever. But nah, it's like the Avalanche win a game. It's like, yep. And they could end up winning the most games ever in a season. That's how good that team is. It's crazy. And then you also have the Hurricanes go on the road against the Flyers and win in a shootout. Like I said, another one, 4-3. And then on Sunday, vice versa, the Hurricanes hosted the Flyers, so they swapped. The next day they win.
Let's go.
And then they also win in a shootout 3-2. So they beat the same team in a shootout 2 days in a row. But on our side, Quinn Hughes,
new guy,
makes his debut against the Brewers. The Bruins. The Wild host the Bruins. And Quinn Hughes scores a goal.
You come in our house.
and he scores a goal in his debut for the Wild.
Dang Skippy, he does.
Helps lead us to a victory for a 6-2 victory, which is 4 in a row for the Wild. And wow, watch out. That's all I got to say.
Watch out, baby.
We're here. And then lastly, on Monday, the Stars hosted the Kings in a battle of two really good teams, where the Stars won 4-1. As the Kings are a good team in their division, but I don't think it matters. I think the winner of the Stanley Cup this year is whoever wins our division.
Right, exactly.
Like, I'm gonna be
110%.
Like, I mean, unless something happens injury wise, there's nobody beating the Avalanche. I don't care, but I would love to see the Wild somehow
23-2, or the Avalanche right now.
And then like I think they
Stars
got
are
like seven overtime losses. So you still get points for that as well.
Yep.
So yeah, they got.
So they're, as far as points, they're 32, but let's see. No, their points are 53. Sorry.
Yeah, 53. I was gonna say it's a little more than that.
Points are 53.
Yep.
Stars are 49. We're 43. And
Yeah,
like you just said,
we would be in first place in
we're
pretty much
first place in every other
division.
Oh, except the Hurricanes have 44.
Yeah, because they just won the other night.
Yeah.
So, but either way, like, isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
To be in third place and you could win your divisions. But yeah, that's kind of our NHL coverage. I'm more excited than ever to watch some hockey, which for me
is crazy because at the beginning when we were just starting the season, he was like, brother, you might have to carry the NHL stuff because but he's been carrying this stuff like crazy. He just comes in here, he's like, you know what, I'm fired up.
Yeah, man. Hey, attitude's just a part of life, and just having a positive mindset's important.
Huge.
And I think when it comes to this, I mean, there's nothing more positive than seeing your home team that for the last decade and a half have tried and can't do anything.
Yep.
Finally, like, buy in.
Yep.
Like, same with the Timberwolves, buying in behind Anthony Edwards.
Yep.
The Vikings, have finally shown some progress. This year's been not their year, but I believe in McCarthy. McCarthy will win a Super Bowl with the Vikings. I truthfully believe it.
There you have it.
I mean,
by 2028, this is going to be championship town.
Absolutely. He's on a rookie contract. They have enough core pieces around him. The defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
Like our defense has played really good this year. We just haven't won those close games. And then McCarthy's been injured.
Yep.
So let him have a whole offseason where he's 100% healthy. He knows the offense. He's run the offense. This team will be special, I promise.
There you have it.
Yeah.
That was the recap of this incredible last week in sports. And wow, it's only heating up in the NBA and, in everything, really.
Yeah.
Playoffs coming up here soon for the NFL here in 3 weeks. And man, big things.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you. Let us know in the comments who your player of the week is across all sports. Just let us know who you think that is. And you know what? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our other social media channels, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.